It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 31. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, May 7th, 2023. A wonderful day in the universe. May 7th. What a great day. Shout out to everyone out there in the video game world, in the normal world, in any other world you exist in. Shout out to that world. Hope you're doing great out there. The sun is shining, the dogs are barking, the birds are chirping. The old lady across the street still bitching. And what's up? How's it going today, Dep Lewis Show listeners? Hope you've been doing good. We're here to talk about some video games and much more today as usual. And I'm glad to be here today, so welcome to the damn show. Alright, housekeeping. If you want to be a even bigger supporter of the Dep Lewis Show than you already are, since you're already listening to this podcast, the one step above is you can follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. You can like, you can subscribe, you can rate, you can comment, you can review, you can turn on notifications, and you can tell a friend, you can tell an enemy, you can tell a family member, you can tell a dog, you can tell a cat. As long as they hit play and start streaming, the Dep Lewis Show is going to be happy. Email any questions or feedback you have to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7. 365 days a year. So that's all the time, if you didn't understand. So send some emails to Dep Lewis Show. You might just get them read on the podcast. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show are on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. The Buzzsprout page is a great hub to find the perfect place for you to listen to the Dep Lewis Show every week. There are clips of the show on YouTube and TikTok. I like to chop and clip and cut those up after I do the podcast and release them to the public, so you can see some gameplay footage along with hearing this wonderful podcast over the top of it and get you really, really hooked and listening every week and following for video game news and what's going on in the video game world and more, and what's going on in the sports world and what books Dep Lewis Show is reading and all this kind of good stuff. So we're going to get into it. All right, so let's talk about the show structure for today. First section of the show, we're going to talk about what I've been playing. So we got some video games there. The second section, we're going to talk about what I've been seeing. That's the mid section where we smoke on a lot of mid. And we're going to talk about a video game release coming up this next week. We're going to talk about a game that came out. We're going to talk about an upcoming showcase. And then we're going to talk about another release that got announced that I think is very cool sounding. And then, in the final section of the show, the Miscellaneous Talk section, we're going to have some book talk. We're going to have some comedy talk. And then we're going to dive into the worldwide world of sports, as we always do, and talk about the favorite teams of the Dep Lewis Show. And it's going to be a great show for you today. So, welcome to the show. Hope you're doing good. Like I said before, let's just try to think if there's any other housekeeping things to think about. So after this episode, I am taking the Dep Lewis Show on vacation. So after this Friday, I have the whole week off from my normal job, not the Dep Lewis Show. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to have an episode for you this weekend, next weekend coming up. No telling what's going to be in that episode. No telling what's going to be in the next two episodes. No telling what days you're going to get them. But listen, you're going to get them. And they're going to be great. And they're going to be wonderful. And you're going to hear them. But they might just be a little different than what you're used to, but you never know. Maybe I'll exceed my own expectations and get these shows out like normal. But we will see. But just know that the host of your favorite podcast is going to be out having some fun. I'm going to watch some Braves games in another state. Going to a friend's house, and then we're going to go see some Braves games. We're going to see actually 3 of them. It's going to be epic, and I'm super excited for it. And I'm also excited to be here doing this show for you today. So let's get it started. As a group called the Black Eyed Peas once said, let's get it started in here. All right. So notes from last show. I just like to say I was shouting out Brandon Gauden, I think that's how you say his name, the Braves' new announcer. And I said the prior announcer was Chip Carey and not Skip Carey. Actually, it's Chip Carey, not Skip Carey. I keep getting confused. That's a father and son duo. Skip Carey is he's a legendary commentator and announcer and personality, but his son Chip is also very successful as well, and he used to be the Braves announcer, and now he is the announcer for the St. Louis Cardinals. But I really like the new Braves announcer we got, and I continue to do so. So I just wanted to shout him out last episode, but I was getting my facts not even straight, so I'm trying to get them straight now. All right, so Dep Lewis Show, episode 31, what have I been playing? The first thing I've been playing this week, and something you should be playing too, and you could still be playing it right now, is the best game of the Dep Lewis Show for 2022, and that is Splatoon 3. And there is a Splatfest going on, and it is a Legend of Zelda themed Splatfest, and I wonder why. I wonder why they would be having a Zelda themed Splatfest along with in this particular week in May. I don't really know. I don't understand. But they're doing a Zelda-themed Splatfest. And you can either pick power, courage, or wisdom. And the Dep Lewis Show is team courage. We're trying to have some courage. You need more courage. You got to get out there and do some things. And you got to have the courage to do so. You got to have the courage to complete some games. You got to have the courage to do a podcast. You got to have the courage to wake up every day and do the damn thing out there in the world. So that's what we're trying to have. I thought before picking, when I was going to click the button to pick, I was like, power might be nice. I've been having a little more courage lately, so maybe I could use some power. But, we picked the courage, and we're going to stay with the courage, and we're going to stay strong with the courage. And I've been playing this. I actually got into Splatoon on Friday, even before the Splatfest kicked off, which is probably not smart, but I re-upped my Nintendo Switch Online. I was playing the Splatfest, and I love Splatoon 3. I need to play more of it. I've gone on a little streak of not playing it, and picking it up last Friday, it was like riding a bike, and I just have so much fun with this game. I still like the whole loop of it. I love the 3-minute matches. I love how quick and fun they are, and I love the controls, and the game looks great, and it sounds great, and you can play it with podcasts as well, and you can play it and listen to music as well if you'd like to. It's just an epic game, and I still have, there's some newer maps in there that I'm seeing that I haven't really fully learned, which is cool, and there may be even some maps in there that I haven't played at all together at this point, but Splatoon 3 is an amazing game. It's especially fun to play during these Splatfests, and I think you should be playing it right now. And I'm going to play some more today. I believe it ends around 5 p.m. I think it's Pacific time, but I'm going to hopefully get some more matches in today, and I need to grab some footage to get a clip as well. So I've just been playing, and I haven't really been grabbing any clips from the Splatoon 3, but it's been super fun. The Triforce of options is pretty neat. And I love that there's a Zelda tie-in because even though I was joking earlier, it's just cool to see got this big Zelda release coming out, and it's cool to see a tie-in to Splatoon 3. So shout out to Splatoon 3 and everything it's doing. I love that game so much. It has to be up there. One of these days we're going to do Dep Lewis Show favorite games of all time, and Splatoon 3, it's not knocking on the door, but it's definitely like in the yard at least. It's like hit the walkway to the house and it's there. So Splatoon 3 is really going up, and it's still building its cachet as life goes on for me. And just shout out to Splatoon 3. Go play it. Go play the Splatfest. And you probably won't hear me talk about Splatoon 3 for a little while unless I really just get hooked back again. But you'll definitely hear me talk about it next time there's a Splatfest. So, just thinking May, June, I don't know. I think Pikmin 4 is the next big Nintendo release after Zelda, and it's in July, so maybe we'll see some type of tie-in to Pikmin 4, could be my guess. But I'm trying to think of other big summer games for the Nintendo Switch that there could be a tie-in for. Obviously, there could just be like a summer Splatfest where they could, pick some summery things. But I'll be keeping my ears and eyes to the street, and I'll come back to the Dep Lewis Show to report to you about the next Splatfest, because this has to be the the biggest champion of Splatoon 3 in the video game podcast world. Who likes Splatoon 3 more than me? Nobody. And I'm here to tell you, it's a great game, so go play it, and shout out to the Splatfest. All right, Splatoon 3. That was taking up the most of my weekend play for video gaming. And earlier in the week, I haven't had too much of an exciting week playing games. I've been playing some old staples. Not really that old, but I've been playing a lot of Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC this week. That's been the main thing I've been playing. And my biggest enemy in this game this week has been death. I keep getting to death pretty easily, pretty successfully, I don't know, I just feel good about it. And then I get to death and he kicks my ass. So I think I've had maybe 5 or 6 fights with that man or woman, whoever he is, and whoever she is. And I think I've only won 2 of them. I think I've advanced maybe 2 or 3 times. The rest of the time I've got my ass kicked. So another hurdle I need to get over. I've actually gotten to the next mini boss after him. So I don't know how I did that one time, but I am working towards it. And I'm back playing this game mainly on the Nintendo Switch. So I'm loving my Switch again. I'm just showing it some love. Been playing that Splatoon 3. I've been playing some Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC. I'm going on my trip this week, so I'm going to be taking my Switch with me. So it'll be getting shown some more love this week, and could possibly be the soul system I talk about on the show for next week or whatever. But I've been playing my Switch a lot. Been playing this Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC. I don't know. I just love this game. I definitely think it's planted on my 2023 Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year list. I think this DLC is worthy of it. I keep just going into the DLC area. I love the castle, and it's just so much fun. And I love the controls of Dead Cells. It feels so good. It's fun to play. I don't know. I got nothing else really to sell you on Dead Cells. I think you should go buy it right now. You can play it on multiple different consoles. I own it on different consoles. I'm playing mainly on Switch now. just to try to keep one successful file going and something I can travel with. And Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC is amazing. So that's been the main game I've been playing this week. I think I'll still be playing it next week, so maybe I'll have some more success with Death. And then maybe, one of these shows I'll be griping and grumbling about the second mini boss and how I keep getting to him and can't beat him. So I think that's how the Dead Cells process goes. So, we're just trusting the process, as the Philadelphia 76ers would say. But you don't know if always that's good advice, because their process hasn't necessarily worked out as well. But Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC. Excuse me, there's a coffee sip. It's highly recommended by the Dep Lewis Show, so I think you should go play it. All right, something else I've been playing this week is the Octopath Traveler 2 Prologue demo. I think I'm almost at the time cap in this, and I have been really, really liking this game. I would definitely be paying the money for this game. There's two reasons I'd be paying for the money for this game. One I have a bigger gripe with, and if this was part of the Nintendo Switch game voucher promotion, I would have already purchased this game. But it's not included on there. You can get the first game on the Nintendo Switch Nintendo game voucher system, which allows you to pay $100 and you can buy 2 games off the list. One includes The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which we'll talk about later in the show. And, it'd be cool if I could buy Octopath Traveler 2 with that. But I'm loving this demo. I think, I've had a revelation about how I like survival horror games. And I've actually played a little bit of Dead Space last night. And I was not able to make any progress. I was getting my ass kicked. And I'm just remembering that. But that game is amazing. So, I've realized that I have a love or a liking or a love or affinity for survival horror games. And I think the next video game revelation I'm having is that I need to play more like traditional RPGs, like Octopath Traveler 2. I think it's just something that I've missed out on, maybe because those games typically seem to be so long. But no one's making me have to finish it or play it in a certain amount of time. So I think I need to pick one of these games and dive into it. I think I already would have if not for the impending release of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But I think the RPGs that I'm really into are these, the turn-based ones. I like this top-down view, and I like the turn-based. Some of these, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, have like a more active, or I guess I don't know if it's active or passive, but it's like a fight system where you're controlling your character on the map, and they're basically like spamming attacks continuously, or you can change which one it spams. So there is some movement involved in it, so it's a little bit different. I don't know if that's something that I would immediately like, but I'm kind of dialing down that I just like this turn-based combat. This old school turn-based combat. It's fun for, I like to pause a game. I like to take a break. I like to do things like that. So it allows you to do that greatly in an RPG. And there's lots of dialogue, and I love seeing some stories, and I've been really on a big reading kick. So I think, having a really good RPG going along could be a great thing for me. And I'm thinking about having one of these on the Nintendo Switch. So later in the year, you can hear me getting into some more typical RPGs, is what I'm kind of learning from this Octopath Traveler 2 demo. And I really like that demo. You should go play it. It allows you to play 3 hours into the game. You can pick any of the 8 characters you want to start with, and you can start their story. Anything you complete will carry over to the main game if you decide to purchase. And Octopath Traveler 2, the physical copies have been on sale still. So if this game was on sale digitally, I probably would have copped it. But just something I want to buy later in the year possibly, and something I'm thinking about. That game's been very fun. The music's cool, the style's cool, the characters are neat, the story's fun, the gameplay is cool. I like the battle system. I'm learning a little more about the break system and how to defeat the enemies, and feeling cooler there and getting some of the strategy. So Octopath Traveler 2, go check that out. I think even Octopath Traveler 1 could be worth checking out, but I've been so, what's the word? I was about to say enhanced, but enticed, or I've been wooed by this game so much that I just want to play this one. So we'll see. So Octopath Traveler 2, looking really great. Go play the demo if you'd like to, or just go purchase it right now. I think it's a pretty clear-cut recommendation out there if you want an RPG. And I think this is a genre that I should start focusing on more, maybe like survival horror. And some games that I'm interested in are Octopath Traveler 2, Live Alive, Chrono Cross, the Final Fantasy series, Persona series, and there's probably some more in there too. But I think the first one that I'll try to pull the trigger on might be Octopath Traveler 2. I've also really looked into the Xenoblade Chronicles series, and like I'm saying, that's a little more of a not traditional turn-based battle, but it could be something that I like. And I've the Xenoblade 3 DLC just came out, and people have been loving that, saying it's a 10 out of 10. Basically, I'm talking about Kelsey Lewin with that from the Min-Max show. And I just want to be a part of some of these games. They look really cool and really fun, and I think I would really like it. So I'm going to keep that in my mind on the Dep Lewis Show. I'm always trying to think of things to improve my video gaming and enhance my fun and enjoyment. And that's kind of part of this show, is me working through it, and you getting to listen to it and think, if you feel the same way in any way or that kind of thing. So this is a very informative show. If you listen to it weekly, you're going to get so much good information about video games and much more on the Dep Lewis Show every week. All right, so I'm going to be trying to play some more RPGs. That's what I'm thinking of. And I'm always thinking about video game purchasing strategies. And I was thinking, purchasing and playing strategies. And I was trying to think this week that I need to think about the type of games when I'm playing multiple games. I don't need to be playing Dead Space Remake and Resident Evil 4 Remake at the same time. I don't need to be playing even I was thinking Xenoblade Chronicles is a third-person action game on the Switch. I don't need to be playing that at the same time as I'm playing Zelda, which is another third-person action game on the Switch. It could just be a little confusing, and it's probably not going to help my progress. So I'm really going to try to be more, I like saying the word cognizant on this podcast, but be more cognizant of, the style of game I'm playing if I'm playing multiples. I think it would be cool. I think it would be feasible to be playing The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom on my Switch, but then having an RPG going as well, like Octopath Traveler 2 on my Switch. That seems like a tough decision. When I load up my Switch, I'm going to have to decide which one to play. So maybe keep them on separate consoles if I'm trying to play at the same time, but I'm just trying to think of ways to, improve my gaming is basically the whole thing here, and improve my gaming consumption. And, I like to see all these things and be able to talk about them and try them out more so than anything. So, I need to not let it hold me back. I need to try out these games and let you know what I think. So that's what I'm going to be doing here on the Dep Lewis Show. So, those are just some random thoughts at the end of this what I've been playing section. I'm thinking about some RPGs, and I'm thinking about, not playing multiple styles of games at the same time. I think that could hurt me more than it could help me. So that's what I've been thinking around in my Dep Lewis Show brain. So we talked about in this first section, we talked about Splatoon 3, the Splatfest that's going on right now. If you're listening to this podcast in real time, it'll probably come out around noon on this Sunday, and then you'll have a few hours left to play the Splatfest and hopefully enjoy it. But other than that, just go play Splatoon 3. The Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC was the main thing I was playing earlier in the week. I keep getting killed by death, and I guess that's how a lot of battles end. And then Octopath Traveler 2, I've been playing the Prologue demo still. I'm almost at the time cap in that, and I've been really enjoying that. And then my general thoughts around RPGs and, playing multiple games. I'm always trying to think of, it's fun to think of that kind of like purchasing strategies and what you're playing strategies and fitting them all in and just trying to find some time. It's a fun puzzle to try to solve, especially when you're dealing with video games, something such as fun as video games. So that is going to wrap up this first section of the show. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back for the miscellaneous. Whoa, we are not going to come back for the miscellaneous. We're going to come back for the mid section. We're going to smoke on some mid in just a second. We're going to talk about what I've been seeing around the video game landscape, and there's some good stuff there. So please don't hesitate to come back. If you want to take a quick break, that is fine. You're going to hear some music, and the show is going to be right back in your earlobes, or in your ears, ready for you to listen. So we'll be back in just a second. Welcome back to the mid-section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 31. Thank you for rejoining the show. I'm glad to be here. We're going to talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape. So the first thing I want to tell you about is an upcoming video game release. It comes out in the upcoming week. So if you're listening to the show in real time, you can play this game in 5 days. And that is The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, releasing Friday, May 12th, 2023 for $69.99. $69.99 USDs on the Nintendo Switch, and this is part of the game voucher promotion as well. Get ready, hold on to your shorts, hold on to your hats. The Legend of Zelda is coming, and everybody in the world is going to be playing it on Friday, and it's going to be the biggest talk of the town. Everyone's going to be playing it, everyone's going to be talking it, everyone's going to be giving their reviews on it. There's going to be guides being built, there's going to be reviews out there, there's going to be discussions about which is the best game of all time, and it has got to be one of the more exciting video game release weeks of the year. So, and I have the whole week off of work after it with some plans, but I have the whole week off which just happens to be so perfect. And I can't wait. And I'm going to be playing this game on Friday, and I can't wait. So, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. We're all going to find out about all the different new systems and different new things and what the actual story in this game is doing. I think that's the biggest mystery, is like the story and the context around this. We've seen a lot of the gameplay elements of like combining things and fusing things and going from the sky to the ground, but I don't think we have these set up for the story and what's going on with Zelda. I think there's a lot of speculation there's going to be some time travel in here, going to get the Master Sword in the past and coming back to the future possibly is what it sounds like. Been a lot of fan theories out there in the interwebs, and I think this game is obviously going to play great, and hopefully it's going to run well on the Switch. I think it's going to be perfectly competent in that regard, and I think the gameplay is going to be insane, and hopefully the story will be cool, and I just can't wait. I have a bunch of friends that are going to be playing this game. I'm going to be playing this game. It's cool that a bunch of my friends that don't even video game all the time are going to buy this and play it. So that speaks to the breadth of the I don't know, what was I going to say? The breadth of the excitement and expansiveness of this release. This one kind of crosses boundaries from just regular video game talk. Like, the Dep Lewis Show does a deep dive on video games almost every week. But, this is a release that's going to get commercials on TV. Your average Joe's going to hear about it. Parents will hear about it. Little kids will hear about it. And everyone's going to be wanting to play this game. So, can't be more excited for it. You should go ahead and get your pre-orders in. You should get a physical copy. You should get a digital copy if you want to participate in the Nintendo Switch Game Voucher promotion. Do whatever you need to do. And, the Great Volness, just to rub some salt in your wounds out there. The Great Volness only had to pay $59.99 for this game because he pre-ordered early. So, we're all a bunch of suckers, and you are as well. Volness is the winner. He's got his money in his pocket. He's got his game ready to go. So, pretty cool. Hopefully some other people out there have done the same thing as well and taken advantage of that. And they're very good fortune. And just bring it on. That's what I'm saying. Bring on the Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Next week's show is probably, no. It comes out Friday, so, there will be some talk of Zelda on the next week's show. But the week after is going to be should be a pretty Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom heavy show. So I can't wait. I should be playing some of this in handheld possibly when it first comes out, which is kind of cool. It'll be a cool way to start it. And I'm going to be switching just like the Switch wants us to do. But I can't wait for this game. I know you know about it already, but I want to bring it up here. It's the main thing to talk about in this midsection because this is the main thing going on in the video game world. And just crazy to believe it's already here. All right, so Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Nothing else I need to say about it. Next time you hear me talking about it, I'll have played some. So that is a pretty exciting thing to know and do and be and all that kind of stuff. So get your money right. Go buy that game. Go play it. And, email DepLewisShow@gmail.com if you have any feedback on the greatest game to be released this year or ever, possibly, is what it's sounding like. So very, very cool. All right, let's talk about something else that has been a release. This game released on Windows and Xbox Series X and S on May 2nd, 2023, and also on Game Pass. It is called Redfall, and this is a first-person shooter developed by Arcane Austin and published by Bethesda Softworks. I actually haven't heard too much positive about this game out there in the world. It's been reviewing pretty poorly. A lot of people have been talking about the jank and the overall just kind of blah and blandness of this game. I started this through Game Pass. I actually played a little bit of it to give it a chance. I've had 2 little sessions with it. The movement felt a little bit weird to get used to, even just like turning your character out. I noticed that was kind of strange. But on my second playthrough, I actually did get a little bit of enjoyment out of it, of looking at the scenery. There's some pretty cool stuff going on. I just don't know. I've heard so many bad things about this game. I think if there was nothing else going on, maybe I would, try a little bit more of poking around with this game and seeing what I like. But it does seem a little bit just kind of, I don't know, maybe uninteresting, unexciting, unexceptional. It just kind of reeks of disappointment a little bit. I mean, it only has 30 frames per second released at the beginning. It's one of those kind of games that's releasing with not its full feature set. This is something that has been delayed. Xbox hasn't had many exclusives, and this is coming out in an example of an exclusive they're doing. I think that's pretty weak. And I think, Redfall's release being kind of like it is, what's the word for it? Underwhelming. I think I think Xbox needs a big win. I don't know. People say Xbox needs a big win. They need a big game. They have no exclusives. Obviously, they have a great machine they're selling, and it runs third-party games great. And, they bought a lot of studios back in the day, but we really haven't seen that come to fruition with actual games that people want to play and that are great experiences. We got Hi-Fi Rush earlier in the year, which was, a little bit of a smaller game, but it's very good and it runs well. And, that's one example from this whole year from Xbox. And, the next big one we got was Redfall. And, I haven't really heard, I don't think there's really one champion. I haven't met the champion on the internet for this game yet or seen it. So, and I'm looking at tons of video game news and podcasts weekly. So I just haven't really heard anything too good about this. Even like a small caveat of why you should really be playing this. But I don't know. I think Xbox and their exclusive issue has been a broad topic of conversation recently, and I don't know if Xbox cares is my thoughts on it. I think they should have strong exclusives, and I think they would want to have, their exclusives be reasons to bring people to their console, but I don't know if that's really part of their vision, because they haven't been acting on that for a long time. The last exclusives we got for Xbox have been, Halo Infinite and Forza back in the day. This year we're waiting on another Forza. I mean, we know they do Forza well. It's just, I don't know. I think it's becoming more apparent of, if you're wanting to buy exclusives, I think you should know which console to go buy, and that might be the PlayStation 5 right now. So, Redfall, a little bit disappointing. I've heard people say, you come back in this game in 6 months and it's going to be a lot different. I think that's a really bad proposition for people that want to play these games, especially for people that are really into video games. I think you're losing those people. I think you could get a casual crowd with doing that method. Someone who's not jumping on these releases and 6 months later just happens to see Redfall, or you start advertising it more in 6 months because the game's more fully fleshed out and you're promoting it more, and then you get some more followers for it. But I just don't know if that's the best route for your game to be successful. I think you should take the hit more up front with getting it ready, and be more confident in your release that it's going to be received well. I think this is it's kind of like a half-hearted attempt at releasing this game almost, and they delayed it. So it's just a weird thing. It's interesting to follow. I'm not really hating on this too much. I played it through Game Pass, so I have no gripes with it. People will say, hey, playing through Game Pass, you can play it for free. It's not all the way true because you are paying for Game Pass, but, I was able to not drop any additional cash and go try this game out. So I think that's a positive. But, I would rather almost pay the money for a game and it be really, earth-shattering and fun and new. Like, I think the proposition of Game Pass being such a good value is diminished a little bit recently, where there's a lot of games on there, but it might not be the exact big top dog game that you're wanting to play, or things like that. Or maybe they're developing these games with Game Pass in mind. They're like, hey, we're going to be one of many. Why do we need to have this incredible experience? I don't know. I don't think that's what they're explicitly thinking, but maybe it is a little bit of a hand-holdy thing. But I don't know. I am just a video gamer out here talking about them and, viewing the landscape from my perspective. And, those are my thoughts on the Redfall release. I don't know if I'll play any more of this. Possibly could have one more session with it just to try it out. But there's a lot of video games coming out, and that's the whole reason. It's crazy. There's tons of video games out. There's old games to play. Retro games get remastered. You have no shortage of video games to play. So for putting all these resources into developing a game and making it and releasing it and promoting it and marketing it and delaying it and all that kind of stuff, it's like you're playing in a very competitive field out here. There's tons of games. There's tons of reasons people can move on and have their interest elsewhere. So I think you just got to be smarter about these things, Mr. Developers. And those are the 2 cents from here from the Dep Lewis Show. All right, so we've been talking about Xbox and the state they are in, with releasing their exclusives and their release calendar, and what should really make you want to buy an Xbox over another system. And hopefully, the Xbox Game Showcase coming up will give us some details on that. And this showcase will be live streamed this June and will once again include reveals of upcoming Xbox games from both first and third-party studios. In addition, there will also be a Starfield Direct, which is what I am very excited about, a whole show dedicated to a deep dive on Bethesda's upcoming spacefaring RPG, which has even more pressure on it now for the Xbox exclusive champion because of the underwhelming release of Redfall. And this Xbox Showcase will be live streamed Sunday, June 11, 2023 at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. There is no specific developers or games have been teased, but naturally whatever is shown will be our first look at what's coming to Xbox, PC, and Game Pass in the future. So, pretty cool. I'll definitely be checking into this and reporting back to you the news from this show. And then I will definitely be dialed into the Starfield Direct, which immediately follows the Xbox Game Showcase. This will feature tons of new gameplay, developer interviews, and behind-the-scenes inside information. And then even after this, just some more news. Just a couple days later on June 13th, 2023 at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. So that is that's 2 days later. Microsoft will also be live streaming Xbox Game Showcase Extended. And this will be a follow-up show that provides more context and interviews based on the reveals dropped during the main Xbox game showcase. So, they're going to have so many reveals and so many drops and so much information. They need an after show 2 days later to even come back and tell you the rest of it. So that is seeming good, but we will see. So I believe Starfield is the game coming out in September. And I know Starfield is holding on to a lot of hopes from the Xbox community that it needs to be a great game. And, Xbox, it doesn't need to have a game like this, but I just think it would benefit so much from having a game that people are able to say, I have this on Xbox, and, you can't play it on the PlayStation. Everyone wants everything. It would be nice if everything's all-inclusive and multi-platform, but from, like, a competitive strategy and getting the best video games out there, I think that's how you have to do it. I think that's what you want. I think there's value to that, and I think Xbox has been missing that for a long time. And that's kind of the PlayStation's whole MO. The PlayStation can play all these third-party games the Xbox can play, but then you can also play God of War Ragnarok, you can play Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, you can play Spider-Man, you can play the Final Fantasy VII Remake, you can play Horizon Forbidden West, and there's DLC released for that. It's like, there is endless possibilities of exclusive games that are very high quality and fun on the PlayStation, and you really can't even point to one on Xbox at this point. Used to be Halo and Gears of War, and I'm trying to even think about Fable. We haven't heard about Fable in a long time. That's supposed to be under development. Redfall was underwhelming. That Halo Infinite release of their multiplayer was crazy back in the day. We're waiting on Forza, but Forza's always good. It's just interesting. And I have an Xbox Series X and S, so I'm not a hater in any regard, and I buy Xbox games, but it's just becoming a little more apparent how these things are moving right now. And I think this showcase in June is actually a pretty big deal for Xbox, and I think they need to do more than just speaking these things too. I think it's nice to have this show and they're going to tell us about some stuff, but they got to put the rubber to the pavement and have some actual things hitting the ground and some games that are fun and things like that. But they're making money. It's not like it's hurting their pockets necessarily, but I think this could just be some more long-term damage that they're doing more so than immediate damage for their brand, and just for progress in the future is just kind of my thoughts on this. But either way, I love these shows. I'll be checking this Xbox game showcase out, and I think you should too. So that is coming to you mid-June is what it looks like. All right, so one more release. This is really kind of just a random one, but I saw the trailer for it and it looks cool. It's not a franchise I have any history with, but they're having a new entry to this franchise coming out. It's going to be called Double Dragon Gaiden, and the Double Dragon brothers returned in this fresh addition to the iconic beat-em-up franchise with roguelike elements, which I love. Every playthrough is a chance at new action. Tagging with 2 of 4 starter characters or unlock 9 additional characters, each with their own special moves and unique playstyles. This game is coming soon. It's developed by Secret Base PTE Ltd, and the publisher is Modus Games. So just go check out this trailer if you want to. I really enjoyed TMNT Shredder's Revenge as a recent beat 'em up. I think it's pretty cool. They're taking this not an outdated but an older style of game and putting a new spin on it. And I think they've done a great job with it, especially with that TMNT Shredder's Revenge. I think it's a cool, fresh take on an iconic franchise and an iconic style of game. And I think it's a cool modern twist to these. And I think this could be another one as well. And it could be a fun one to play co-op. The graphics in these kind of beat 'em up games are pretty fun and cool. The backgrounds are neat, and character animations are cool, and they got some little quippy things they say. And it really is just kind of a little bit of a nostalgia blast, but I think in a vacuum you can play these games in modern time and really enjoy them. I think that's the cool part too. So I think these games are double dipping a little bit if they do them well. You're getting a little bit of nostalgia if you've played them, but you can also, the game holds up on its own if you're playing it fresh for the first time, or if it's your first chance at playing a beat 'em up. So Double Dragon Gaiden is something I'll be checking for, and I think it looks cool. It was just something I wanted to tell you about on the show this week because I thought it looked neat, and it was something that a little bit outside the Dep Lewis Show wheelhouse. So that's going to wrap up the mid section. We've smoked all the mid that we have. So we talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which releases this upcoming Friday on May 12th, 2023. We talked about the Redfall release, about how that's been a little bit underwhelming. We talked about the Xbox Game Showcase coming up in June 11th, and then there's going to be a extended showcase on the 13th. So June 11th, you got the Xbox Showcase. Same day, you got the Starfield Direct. And then 2 days later, you get the extended Xbox Game Showcase. Then we talked about the upcoming release of Double Dragon Gaiden. I don't know when that game is going to come out, but I believe, my guess would be summertime or yeah, would be sooner than later is my thought on that. And that is all we got for this mid-section of the show today. So those are all the things I've been seeing around the video game world. So we are going to take another quick break. You're going to hear some more lovely music. And then we're going to come back for the Miscellaneous Talk section of the show. So next section, we're going to get into some book talk, some comedy talk, in the worldwide world of sports. We're going to talk about what's going on there. So, I'm going to tell you, go take a break. Go heat up your coffee. Go pet your dog. Put some laundry in. Sweep up your house a little bit. Call a friend. Maybe put a grocery list together. Whatever else you can do on this fine Sunday, go do it. But then please come back in just a second to listen to the final section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 31. And we'll be back in just a moment for that. Welcome back to the final section of the best show you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show, episode 31. And this is the Miscellaneous Talk section. So we're going to talk about some miscellaneous things. So the first thing we're going to talk about is some book talk. So I've been on a major book kick this year. I've been trying to read 13 books this year. So that's one a month plus one extra. And I believe I've completed 7 books now. I just completed this book called Legends and Lattes. So I wanted to tell you about that. That's by the author Travis Baldree. It's a very cool book. It was a pretty quick read and pretty, it was a fun, easy ride. Very enjoyable. There wasn't too much drama. This book was supposed to be, was touted as being like a cozy read. And it really was. It was really, really cool and a nice change of pace. And the lead character's name is Vin, and she's an orc who gives up fighting to start a coffee shop, basically, is the premise of this. And she's bringing coffee to this town. And, I love coffee so much. You hear me drinking it on the Dep Lewis Show a lot and sipping it. And so, Viv is, I called her Vin, but Viv is her name, Viv. And she's building the shop, getting food, making friends, and getting shaken down by the town mafia, basically. I said this was a cool book. It's not have a lot of action, but it's still good. It's a relaxing, fun read. But there's also some drama with the shakedown happening and some of the relationships going on being contentious or questionable. And I rated this book 5 stars, so I think you should go read it. And there's actually a sequel to this book coming out in November, I believe is what it is. So I'll definitely be purchasing that and adding it to my list. And I'm at 7 of 13 for the year for my goal, so I need 6 more books by the end of the year. And I'm looking like that's pretty strong. There's a Brandon Sanderson book that's coming out that I definitely will read. There's a Will White book coming out that I'll definitely read. And then this sequel to Legends and Lattes. I think it's called something in Bone Dust. Broomsticks and Bone Dust, I believe is what it's called. So I'll be reading that in November. So I should be able to achieve my goal this year, which would be very cool, since I missed out on it last year. And, I finished this Legends and Latte, and now I moved on to this book called The Black Prism Lightbringer Book 1. It seems really cool. It's around 600 pages. I just started it yesterday. The Kindle version is half off right now, so if you want to go cop it like me, you can. And this book seems to be, there's different styles of magic based on different styles of colors. A little bit of Magic the Gathering kind of thing going on there, but it's some real world applications of that. It's the world where that exists, and it's a story around that. And I've just gotten started, and it seems cool. And I have a friend that I get all these book recommendations from, so he actually sent me a list. I was like, hey, I could use some recommendations, and he sent me a list of like 6 or 7 different books, and I've been picking from that list. So Legends and Lattes was the first one, and now I moved on to this Lightbringer series. I don't know if I'm gonna. Just kind of depends. There's multiple books in this series. I don't know if I'll continue to the multiple books right away, or if I'll try some of these other series he told me about. But either way, I'll be telling you about them on the Dep Lewis Show as I get to them. And if you want to enjoy some cool books too, these are some good options. So, I'm reading The Black Prism Lightbringer Book 1. It's a little bit of a longer book, so it could be a while before I finish it. But I've already been making some progress, and it's been a great time reading these books. I've been loving all the books I've read this year for the most part. Most of them have been 5-star books. So, I'll give you a list of those and an update of those at some point about what I've been reading and exactly what it was. But I believe I've covered them all a little bit on this show so far. But it'll be nice to see a running list. And then at the end of the year, I think I'm going to rank them. I think I'm going to rank, hopefully I'll have 13 or a little bit more of books. And I'll rank them and tell you which ones are the best to read for 2023 on the Dep Lewis Show. So not only do you get video game rankings, you might even get some book rankings. All right, so let's get into some comedy talk. The Dep Lewis Show is a big fan of comedy, of podcasts, of stand-up comedy, of anything funny out there in the world. And I just want to shout out this week to Jeremiah Watkins. This week he was doing a lot of great things in my mind. He was on the Are You Garbage podcast, and he was also on the B and Ian podcast with Jordan. So that's Ian Finance's podcast. That's excellent. I've started watching that. Jeremiah also dropped Stand Up on the Spot this week, and he had Joe List and Mark Norman on that. So he has a whole different YouTube channel started for Stand Up on the Spot, which is where he brings comedians to the stage, and they take suggestions from the crowd only, and they have to riff and talk on those. They're not allowed to do any, any curated material or any jokes they've had previously. They have to just riff on the spot, and it's very fun to watch. They usually have, maybe 5 comedians that do it, and, sometimes I'll even skip around to the people I know, the comedians I already enjoy, but, there's also opportunity here to, find out some new comedians. So I think Jeremiah does a great job of setting the lineups for these, and it's very fun. So go check out Stand Up on the Spot from Jeremiah Watkins. He also has a podcast called Scissor Bros, and I think he has a podcast called Jeremiah Wonder still too. So Jeremiah Watkins, if you YouTube him, you'll find a lot of stuff. He was also on the Kill Tony show for a long time. He was part of the band. He was recently back on Kill Tony for an episode in the band, and it was very cool. And I just really enjoy him. He's very goofy. He's very silly, and he does a lot of act outs and characters and things like that. So he's a special breed of person here. And then he also has a recent comedy special called Daddy on YouTube. You can go watch it for free right now. It has around 133,000 views, and it's very excellent, especially if you're a fan of Jeremiah. So go watch that, go share it, go tell people about it, and shout out to Jeremiah Watkins. We're fans over here on the Dep Lewis Show. All right, so the Miscellaneous Talk section is usually the section where we talk about sports, the worldwide world of sports. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Carolina Panthers. It's the offseason. We've had the draft. All the free agency stuff's kind of been handled. Players are deciding on their new numbers. So, Bryce Young is going to wear number 9. Matt Corral is switching to number 2, which was freed up after the DJ Moore trade. Shout out to you, DJ Moore. Pretty sad to have that number freed up, but, good for Matt Corral. Laviska Shenault is going to wear number 5 now instead of 15 because Mr. Mingo is going to wear 15, the new receiver from Ole Miss. And we still haven't extended Brian Burns, so that is my last plea. Extend Brian Burns, make him the highest paid edge rusher in the league. They are very important. Every team needs one. Every team would love to have one. Every team would be grateful to have a Brian Burns on their team, so pay that man accordingly. And then the last thing I saw was Bryce Young at the Lakers game. Bryce is back in California where he's from. I guess he's doing some training, handling his business. But he was out there watching LeBron and AD. I think they won. So I think they're actually up 2-1 right now. So at least our quarterback is happy about that. So shout out to the Carolina Panthers. That's all the news I have to report from them this week. Go extend Brian Burns and extend him right now. I want to hear that news. All right. The official sport of the Dep Lewis Show, Major League Baseball, and the most official team of the Dep Lewis Show in the whole wide world is the Atlanta Braves. The Braves last week were rained out on Sunday for 4/30/2023, and it resulted in a doubleheader happening on Monday against the Mets. The Braves won the first game of the doubleheader, and Murph Dog had a bomb to seal the game. The best catcher in baseball, Sean Murphy, and the Mets won the second game of the doubleheader. So screw you, Mets are winning that game. And then the Braves went on to play the Fish this week. They beat the Marlins Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Been having some weird injury stuff. Money Mike got injured again. Hopefully it's short term. Kyle Wright tried to pitch, but he wasn't all the way ready, or he tweaked something again, so he's hurt. Ronnie avoiding injuries, getting belted with the ball, and people trying to hit him, and forget how but Ronnie's out there, hustling his ass off and avoiding injury, and we want Ronnie to keep playing. So it's kind of a rough week for health and safety of these players. The Braves need less injuries right now, but at least some of these were more, tic-tacky kind of injuries, and these guys are back, so that's very good. The Braves have been playing the Orioles all weekend in Atlanta. They lost to the Orioles Friday night pretty handily. Like, the Orioles, played a pretty good game and beat them pretty nicely. And then the Braves actually beat the Orioles last night, Saturday night. Kevin Pillar hit the go-ahead home run in the 8th. The Orioles, that was a very close game, a very fun game, a very interesting game, very close. And then the bomb in the 8th inning to take the lead was epic and awesome. And then the Braves closed it out in the 9th. I think it was Iglesias that closed the game out for them. So pretty great. I think it's also pretty cool. The Orioles are doing good and look like a great team, or look like a fun team. Like, they can challenge some things out there in the American League. And they're actually playing the Orioles I believe it just started right now. There's an early game today. It actually starts before noon Eastern time, and the Braves are playing their final game against the Orioles in this series. So I'll be checking into that in just a little bit. Actually, after I record this podcast, I'll be editing it and listening to or watching the Braves game. So next week the Braves are at home versus the Red Sox, and they're away at the Blue Jays, and then they have some games in Texas. And that's the games that I'll be going to see. They're playing 3 games against the Rangers. And the Dep Lewis Show is going on the road, and we're going to be watching some baseball in person and hopefully seeing 3 wins. And I can't wait for it. So I'll be definitely telling you some results of that and some impressions of the stadium and what I think about the Rangers Stadium and just Rangerville in general. So can't wait for that. It's going to be an exciting couple weeks for the Dep Lewis Show, and hopefully a lot of wins for the Braves. So we will see. Red Sox and Blue Jays are both in the AL East, and some both tough opponents next week. So Braves got their work cut out for them, but I think they are ready for it. And then I have a running baseball enemy list going. So we've been talking about Yordan Alvarez, Mr. Air Yordan, on the last couple episodes about how he needs to cut it out against the Braves. And now I'd like to add Jeff McNeil to that list. He is another one who has been a nuisance for many years to me. Being on the Mets and playing against the Braves, he was doing some mashing against the Braves, earlier in the week, and I do not appreciate it. So I'd like to add him to the list. He's been put on notice. Mr. Jeff McNeil. You are a jerk. Cut it out against the Braves. They're my favorite team. You need to leave them alone, or you're going to get blasted on the Dep Lewis Show like this. So really, really, really a lot of pressure on you to be nice to the Braves, because otherwise, you're going to be getting outed on a worldwide, world famous podcast, and you don't want that. You don't want that. So Atlanta Braves, I got your back here, and I always will. So Yordan Alvarez and Jeff McNeil, you guys stink. That's all I want to say. You stink. You stunk. You're always going to stink, and you're stinking. That's what I got to say to you. And, Jeff McNeil should be retroactively added to my list because he's been a nuisance for a while. So Yordan Alvarez and Jeff McNeil, you're on the naughty list. You're not getting nothing for Christmas from the Dep Lewis Show except a bag of coal. So that's where we stand, and I wanted to let the world know. So that's going to wrap up this Miscellaneous Talk section. We talked about some books, Legends and Lattes. I finished that, and I'm on to reading the Black Prism Lightbringer Book 1. We talked about some comedy talk. Go follow Jeremiah Watkins everywhere you can. He's got some great content out there, especially recently. So go check out Jeremiah Watkins. Check out the Carolina Panthers, the best team in the NFL. And shout out to Bryce Young. And they should extend Brian Burns right now and pay him a large bag of money. And then finally, shout out to the Atlanta Braves, the best team in the universe, the official team of the Dep Lewis Show, the closest team to my heart, and the best team in the galaxy, in the world, in the universe, in the whole pantheon of sports. And go Braves. Hope they get a lot of dubs this week, and I hope they are working towards a dub right now on this early game. So that is going to wrap up this wonderful Dep Lewis Show, episode 31 this week. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I enjoyed doing it. And it's just been a really great week. So I want to wish you a good week coming up. This is Legend of Zelda release week coming up, so be excited for that. Grab your tunics out of the closet and put them on and get ready to rock out in Hyrule, in the Zelda world. And I'm going to be doing so as well. I'm going to have an episode for you next week. It should just be it might be an early episode. I don't know how it's going to work yet. I work a normal week, and Saturday I start traveling, and the whole week off after I'm off. So it should be an interesting 2 weeks. I don't know exactly what the Dep Lewis Show is going to look like, but there will be something in your feed each of these weeks. So keep looking out for them, keep listening, keep recommending, and just thank you for following the show and listening along as much as you do, and I really appreciate it. So that is a great time to tell you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend or tell an enemy. Email any questions you have, questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok, and just thank you so much for listening to this show. I really appreciate it. I look forward to doing it every week, and I hope you look forward to listening to it every week. I hope you'll be enjoying the ride for me in the next couple weeks of all the fun stuff going on in the Dep Lewis Show world. And I'll definitely make sure to check in and give you some updates on what's going on and what I think is cool and what I've been playing and things of that nature. So just hang in there with me on the Dep Lewis Show. We're going to have a fun 2 weeks coming up, and many, many more weeks after that of this wonderful show. So thank you for being a listener. I hope you have a great week. I hope you find some money on the street. I hope someone leaves you some money. I hope you get a promotion. I hope you get a raise. I hope a money block falls on your head and knocks you out and you wake up next to a big bag of money. I hope anything happens to you money related in a positive way. And I hope you play some great games and watch some cool sports and read some good books, and all those kind of things are what I wish for you out there, listener. So Last thing I'm going to wish is please come back next week for episode 32 of the Dep Lewis Show. And thank you so much for listening this week. I appreciate it, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.